will be a part of the conversation this morning. Promises to be interesting. Let's just go over the headlines making the rounds this morning. Starting off with the Punch. I have this one on the Punch. Kano Assembly confirms 9 commissioner nominees. Repentant inmates deserve pardon, says Baptist president. Youth asks Rivers to unseal NLC secretariats and others. Sit at home, commercial activities pick up in Anambra State. Atiku and Obi slam federal government. Shetima sells Tinubu's candidacy. Over to the Guardian newspapers.
On the Guardian, Imo moves to strengthen security, rolls out measures. Health Workers Group Chair denies shutdown of Owo Federal Medical Center. Shekarau set to leave NNP blames Kwakwanso. Lagos government seeks to end sexual violence in Nkoshofe. On the NBA conference, Adichie decries leadership deficit as candidates unveil 2023 agenda. Over to the This Day newspaper.
On This Day newspapers, lawmakers knock TCN over inability to explain power generation, summon MD. Federal government begins talks with airlines over trap funds. Buhari, AGF and others dragged to court over alleged unlawful interference in NDDC. Federal government launches free rotavirus vaccine against killer diarrhea. Kyari, there is no way illegal refineries can be converted to regular facilities. Over to This Day newspapers. Over to The Nation.
Sorry. The Nation. Still on the no work, no pay rule. NLC backs ASU on salary arrears. Lawyer sues Buhari, AGF, Umana for alleged unlawful interference in NDDC. Tinubu, Atiku, and Obi rolls out plan on economic and security. Police hunter rescue 14 abducted passengers in Osun State. Governors haven't done enough on security, says Yuguda. Over to the Daily Trust.
On Daily Trust newspapers, reps call for construction of rail line in Lekki Trade Zone to avoid gridlock. Oshunpo, Tribunal grants Oyetola APC access to election materials. ICPC to partner POS professionals to combat fraud. PDP, Atiku set to announce campaign council. And finally, on the pen pushing newspapers.
On the pen pushing, Ekiti State Teaching Hospital workers protest over unpaid entitlements. 21 congregants escaped death in auto crash along Shagamu Ijebu-Ode Expressway.
And yes, these are the headlines making the rounds this morning across different Nigerian newspapers. Join us as we get to analyze them. Send us your comments, your contributions on 070-317-56537, 070-317-56537. And starting off with this one on the Punch newspapers, this one says, NBA conference, Nigerians lack heroes, says Chimamanda Adichie. Now, Chimamanda Adichie, award-winning novelist, has said Nigerians do not have enough leaders to look up to in the current system. Now, this was stated at the ongoing annual general meeting of the Nigerian Bar Association yesterday. I mean, that conference has gotten a lot of people talking. For the first time, I'm seeing so many people who are not lawyers or in the legal system interested in the conference. I don't know why. Maybe because it's just around the election period, but people seem to be so pumped up about it yesterday. Like, even some people that you just regularly see them bant and tweet about some other stuff and not even interested in politics. But I saw them making so much comment about this one. So it's a good thing that people are trying to bring themselves back to the things that actually matter. Now, Adichie is saying that Nigerians actually lack heroes and leaders in governance. So now is a case of here in Nigeria, most of our political leaders just want to go into these offices, talk to people, get people over to their side, and when you get into office, you want to do as you like. And she also mentioned that here in Nigeria, what we see these days is tyranny. From the boss who is maltreating his or her staff, to the police officers harassing people, to the rape of young boys and young girls, everywhere you look in the environment, there is one form of maltreatment, one form of just people just taking laws into their hands and doing anyhow. And the part I want us to address this one, Lobinko, is the part where she said we don't have heroes or leaders to look up to in governance.
You know, I quite agree with that beautiful lady. Are we short of leaders? The answer is no. I mean, at every point in time, we've had leaders. Unfortunately, we've had more of bad leaders than we have of good leaders. And while she was talking, she mentioned the name of Dora Akuili and the likes of Gani Fawemi. These were people that put the country first. They damned the consequences. They were always ready to speak out. The truth remains, we still have people like that. But unfortunately, the wicked ones, the oppressors, they're so taking up the reins that the good ones are not even allowed to talk. I mean, they've so corrupted the system that even when the good ones are talking, their voice gets drowned.
People don't even want to listen.
Exactly, like they've already built. I mean, you see, I'm one witness to stuff like this. The way people try to defend what is undefendable in this country amazes me. I mean, you know it that you are hungry. You know it that your educational system is bad, and then because of your sentiments, you shy away from that topic intentionally, and then you things. You see, yesterday I was really impressed. I mean, the NBA.
Honestly, I must say, I was impressed.
Something I'd always been interested in, but yesterday had a new twist to it. Whereas all of the presidents were invited and
presidential
candidates were invited, and some honored and some did not honor, some sent proxy.
Representatives.
And in a normal climate, these are the factors Nigerians should start looking for. I mean, as someone who wants to take a job, one thing I know you would always want to do is you want to maximize every opportunity
to speak to the
pitch. No, I'm not even talking about people now. I'm talking of even a job. You're going for an interview. The fact remains, for every job we get in life, the first skill we need to show is our ability to deliver our lines, claiming that we can deliver on the job. But when in Nigeria, you, for instance, look at the previous elections, we've seen virtually all the past ruling president since 1999. They never attended any debate. Because, you know, we had the system then where, unfortunately, we believed in some leaders, but you know, so when they give directive, we just follow blindly. We didn't ask questions. But now is that time. And NBA, what NBA stands for is actually the Constitution. That is where our Constitution is developed. That is where it is defended. That is where it is edited and re-edited. You understand what I mean? So invariably, the fact that NBA, non-partisanly, stylishly
invited them over,
shows that Nigeria seems to be on the right track. So now we as the people, when we talk about leaders, when your leaders fail you, you don't have to give up on leadership. You just look for new set of people to lead you. And when I talk about new set of people to lead you, we have our basic principles. I've never met someone like Stripe Masiyiwa, but he is my mentor.
He's a great man.
Just because I've read stuffs about him, just because I've had an insight into his principle, I choose my leader. And Nigerians, we need to cultivate that habit as well. Choose who we allow to influence us. At the end of the day, if your president is failing you, if your neighbor is the person you see leadership from, study him, be an understudy for him. If it's your younger one, please, you understand, at the end of the day, when we do this consciously, the right people will be pushing them. For me to have the confidence I have today that I'm a good person is because at a point in time when I lacked all of the confidence in the world, I had one leader
that I could look up to.
I could look up to, and who in turn was nudging me up. We need to look for that. We just can't give up. The human race must not give up. I'm not even talking about Nigeria now. We can't afford to give up. We need to keep striving to be better at whatever we are and wherever we are.
Yes, I totally agree. And talking about leadership, and so we live in a society where people have been made to believe that for anybody in some political office, they should be respected. They should be listened to, even when you know outrightly that this person might not be saying the right thing. But people just want to command some form of respect just because they find themselves in certain situations, even when you know you are not up for it, even when you know you lack the qualities to be called a leader, people just want to command it. Well, with this reawakening that I saw at the NBA yesterday, I really do hope that Nigerians would wake up to reality and face what is on
I
ground.
think the reason for that is the political class had sort of imbibed a culture in us that all you need to be reasonable in life, all you need to be relevant in life is money and power. And that is why you realize that lots of people, there's one of the movies that shaped my life while I was growing up. This movie, Ramsey Noah and his dad, Osifo. This man with
Alex Osifo, okay, from that movie. Okay.
It's titled Silent Night. Ramsey Noah was a cultist. I think they went
In the movie,
yes. They went to steal some goods or some source from, and at the end of the day, the father was a justice, and of his friends on the bench were like, let's take this case. All of his friends on the bar, let's defend this case. But do you know that he said no? Cases, lawsuits are all about facts,
just facts.
verification.
I'm blind to who is who.
Exactly.
Let's
Long and
just
short of the
say-
story, he sentenced his son to, I think, death by hanging. And thinking about it now, I still have the goosebumps.
Because one would think that, oh, this is your child. You don't do that.
Whether we like it or not, we need selfless people.
Actually,
We need the fact that our polity believe that once you are connected, once you have power, you can do everything. It is one of the things drawing us back.
I actually have a life story that relates to this story you just shared, and it was in my alma mater days. We have this principal, God bless his soul, Segun Oshiboye. He made a law against examination malpractice. It was a big offense then, and initially they would always wait till the end of the session in school to expel such persons. But after he made this law that no longer will examination malpractice have to wait till the end of the session, but it will be instant, henceforth.
Just leave.
And guess what? His son, his firstborn, was involved in malpractice. It was a law in the school. There's no two way about it. It's expulsion once you're involved in examination malpractice. So his boy was involved in examination malpractice, and at the meeting, teachers were saying, "Oh,
You cannot do what.
he did not only expel him, he publicly disgraced him."
That's my father for you.
You know why I like people like that. So there's sometimes when things happen, even in my personal life.
No, people respect this man, even in death.
Even in my personal life, I see certain things happen and people will be like, no, Esther, you shouldn't have. In my head, I'm like, if I can do this to this person, it tells you that you that just coming from nowhere, I can do more to you. Because people need to set it straight. People know the right thing, but they choose not to. They choose what they want to do because of who they know or who they can tell.
Exactly, and that's also because it's sort of an endemic disease in the system.
It's just our reality.
You see, now, look, whether guilty or not guilty, this case of organ harvesting that our former deputy Senate president is going through in the UK. Were it in Nigeria, the only person that would get justice, Leonard, by default. That's the young man. I'm not saying the young man is right or wrong. I'm not saying the Kwere is
right or wrong.
But the system is so, it's just a matter of, you can even see, even on our space, some people are already castigating the poor boy All this, that is why, you understand? Like he intentionally wants to blackmail. We don't even want to listen to reasonings and arguments. We've lost that thirst for logic, for reasoning. And that is why things probably will continue this way until majority of us that still have it in us. Let's keep talking. A time will come, the stage will be ours eventually.
Oh, well, I'm actually here for it. I'm all for it. I really want to see people live up to expectations. I want to see people say things and do it, because Nigerians are tired of having people come out and promise so many things, and at the end of the day, when it is time for you to do what you have to do, you start giving excuses and making so many comments. You hear things like, oh, you should be glad this person is your leader. Oh really? There's a lot more you should be thankful about in your own life first.
I saw a post on Facebook yesterday. I don't want to mention name, but there's a veteran Nigerian actor, and he was gifted a car by another popular
Okay.
person.
Okay, so now I know.
And his reaction, of course, when good is done for you,
You feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that
He
video.
went ahead. I'm very sure in age or anything, he's probably older than this guy.
The person that gifted him the stuff.
He
Yeah.
went ahead and just prostrated, and But the credibility of the person in question
Has a lot of questions.
has a lot of questions. Like someone, one of my, funny enough, my last in officer while I was president in school, I saw on his status that the fact that you are a beneficiary of a fraudulent process shouldn't make you not to talk against a fraudulent process. At times I've come to realize that in life, you might not put your hand in the cooking jar.
Okay.
But by reason of association,
You are
you are in that cooking jar to survive. You probably nobody. But the moment, like Yorubas will say, tibitire, like we have the good and the bad side of us. The moment we allow the bad side of us to take dominance over our good principles, our good ethos, that is when the environment, the society starts getting decayed.
And that's what we have today.
And that's what we have today. Like, people just because of that act that guy gave a car, do you know that can swing a lot of people's mind towards, like, he's a good man. You see, a man that had robbed us so much in this country and who has all of their children abroad and now goes and takes pictures with those children, and then you go on social media and you see Nigerians praising the guy, oh, you're a wonderful man, you're a good father. But your other people's children whose commonwealth
Have been taken.
Nobody's talking about it.
Well, if there's anything that I like to say, when I saw that video, in my head, I was just like, okay, you can be good to somebody else.
It just goes to
And
show
they mean to me.
it even just goes to show how
Debased.
we have become as a people.
We're in a fix, actually.
Like I've seen people. I once had a movement that I started. I think you should know about it then. But there was a particular friend who I believe is very talented,
Okay.
and I brought him on my team and I was shocked because the guy believed for me to embark on such a project. It's because
You're being funded by somebody.
by someone.
People think that's
he couldn't wrap it around his head that I would
So just
go all out to do this. I got discouragement from virtually every quarters. And do you know, for this guy to benefit from the logistic probably felt had collected, my friend that we grew up together was actually prostrating for me. I said, come on, this is an idea. I believe that if we do this, it will make us blow. Let's blow together. Do you know, the moment he realized there was no money in it,
He backed out.
there were some stuff he was supposed to do that we had planned and strategized, and I mean, based on his strength. That was how he backed out.
Because he realized there was nobody bankrolling it.
He just told me that you want to be using me. How can you tell me you've been cool for me? And I just kept it. I felt very bad. I mean, this is someone who we grew up in the same environment.
See, money changes.
Who coincidentally is even from a better in terms of wealth.
Okay.
Than mine.
So you would expect him to have certain moral values and all.
Moral self-dignity. I felt really bad about it.
Well, that's what we see in our society today. It is 7 minutes to 8 on Women Radio WFM 91.7, and this is the Newspaper Review. The Newspaper Review is where we get to review the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers, and we get to analyze them. My name is Esther Olaribe, and I have with me Adenike Quadri. Our analyst for the morning is Obideyi Olariwaju Lobinko. Join us as we get to review the dailies. What do you think about our submissions this morning about the issue we've discussed, tyranny in Nigeria, the act of some of our political leaders? What do you think? Come 2023, what are the changes you also want to see? And what are the changes you're also doing in your own personal space? Those spaces where nobody sees you. Those conversations, those transactions that you make in your corners when nobody is seeing you, because we all get to scream corruption, corruption, corruption and point at the top. But what are you doing in your own space? Think about it this morning. Send us your text, your comment on 070-317-56537. 070-317-56537. You can listen live via the website at www.wfm917.com and via the mobile app WFM917. We are live on Facebook and YouTube at WFM917.
We have this one on the Guardian talking about tyranny and corruption here and there. Workers seal off Ekiti teaching hospital over unpaid 1.6 billion naira deductions and others. Now, it's amazing that so much deductions have been done on these people's salaries over the years in the name of cooperatives and many other benefits. And to find out that they cannot have access to these deductions and other emoluments by the management. And it's so sad that even for management of such facilities that we're talking about, the doctors will come out and cry we're not being paid at all. It is so disappointing to see that you'll be deducting people's money in the name of, we want to do this for
and you still don't remit.
And then you don't remit.
You don't do it.
So individuals now, not 1, 2, 3, 10 persons are thinking, I have one fund stashed somewhere. And only for them to be surprised that there's actually nothing. So I wonder what Nigerians have reduced themselves into. And I want to share this. I was watching a video on online some days ago, and this person was saying that his friend went to Japan, and boarded a cab. So he said his friend had this stash of money with him, and forgot it in the cab. So he had gotten to his hotel room when he found out that I lost my bag. And he said instantly he went out looking for the driver. He went to the app where he booked the driver, trying to trace the driver. But the driver, when he noticed the bag, took it to their park and dropped it, registered it there, that in case this person comes back. So when he was able to get through to the driver said, just go to the park. I've already deposited it there for you. And he said, being in Nigeria, he said, we have to go together.
Let's go and see. Let's see the concert is complete.
Yes.
Everyone is not your country.
So the man said, no problem. I will even come and pick you in your house very early in the morning. And the man came very early, picked him. They went to the park together. Upon opening the bag, he found out that not $1 was missing from that bag. And he said he asked the man that, why didn't you take the money for yourself?
Why?
He said his response was simply, stealing is beneath us. And he was just, he was overwhelmed, like he was dumbfounded. Let me just say, that it is beneath us. Now, this has got nothing to do with leadership or
your values as a person. Your values as a person.
I had a similar experience at Ladipo some years ago. This guy, obviously one of the wheelbarrow pushers. And then this man, funny enough, a man I know, came to buy parts. So I think when they were leaving, the money he carried, 2 bundles of 500 naira, it fell. And that guy, the truck pusher, saw the money and picked it and started chasing. And while he was chasing, everybody was like, what's wrong with this man? Because they didn't know what he picked. And then he got to this man, who, funny enough, is late now.
Okay.
Is a political leader in a party that I know. And he gave him his money. And the man just said, oh, thank you, and left. And when he came back, his friends started abusing him. They started, they were really messing him up. Like, this money, if you use it to buy Okada, you would never be poor again in your life, and all of that. I just called the guy, young man, you did the right thing. Don't feel bad about it. So when the man came back, and I went to the man, that this is what happened when you left. Can you believe the man just looked at the guy, gave him 500 naira? But probably because he felt I could influence his political person, he now counted 5,000 naira and gave to me.
So you and gave the person that found that gave him back the money 500 naira.
And I felt badder.
I'm not saying you have to give him anything, but if you don't do that.
Like I felt badder. You understand? And coincidentally, I was also a street boy hustling like that then. I had to share that money, and I told the guy, don't worry. The future would definitely compensate people like you. And I gave him part of mine. And my Ogala were there together. It was like, I couldn't wrap that around my head forever.
That's crazy.
The good thing is, this same man that I'm talking about that is linked now, one of his children, without knowing, is also my friend. And do you know that particular person, that child I'm talking about, has integrity and value in full dose.
Then?
But the funny thing is, the child is not a politician. So it now brings to mind, does it mean that once one join politics,
the political system
must make you, like I was reading somewhere yesterday, an APC spokesperson said there's no way you will be in APC and you won't lie, because you have to defend.
I don't even want us to line into a particular party, but I'm just talking about it's what we see amongst our politicians.
We've seen it amongst our politicians. We've seen it. I mean, the way some people come out, for someone like me, one of the reasons why I left politics was because I can't play it the way it's played. But the way some people come out to defend what is so obvious to everybody amazes me.
So what you just said that reminded me of a certain interview I saw, I think 2 weeks ago or so. At some point I was like, this person needs to take me through his line of thoughts, because how are you saying this when clearly everybody can see what it is? How do you feel inside of you when you go back home? How do you feel, or when you watch that interview again, how do you feel knowing that you said everything you said, all shades of wrong, and you know it's deep down in your spirit and your conscience that I have just done everything wrong out there?
No,
how do they feel?
Persons, their conscience already deadened. They don't have one.
You see, the political lords, they intentionally seek for souls they can corrupt, and that is why you hear they've made a lot of people. Funny enough, of course, for you to grow, you probably have to dine with the devil. And that is why you see some shine. No, for you to grow.
In the political space or in life?
In life. The meaning of dining with the devil remains. One of my mentors taught me one thing. He works in an environment that I believe is totally different from him. You understand? I'm talking about basics in terms of values. The organization is a very big one, and he happens to be the GM, the CEO of the company. And I asked him, how did you make it to this post, considering the owner of this company is from this place? You understand? And he told me something. He said, common interest. And the meaning of common interest is, whether we like it or not, as humans, we all share common interests. So based on that common interest, that is why you would see a hardened criminal look for a decent lawyer or a decent banker to save his money. In doing that, though you're saving the money, you're doing your job as a good citizen of the country, but don't make sure your hand is not soiled. That is what I mean by dining with the devil. Whether we like it or not, we just need to make sure that we define our common interest. And when that common interest seems to be negotiated beyond our values, then we can withdraw.
Okay. If there's any profession that I really have high level of respect for, would be law. So sometimes, as a lawyer, you have to defend this person, and deep down inside of you that this person, if the proceedings should follow suit and nobody is bribed or anything, this person is guilty. But the kind of confidence that lawyers will go to court with and still defend this person, sometimes it worries me. I totally love the profession, but that part of it is what worries me, because I would not intentionally defend what
I think for me, like you said, that was actually the course I wanted to go for. And
I think almost everybody wanted to study law at some
point in time, I still probably could go for it. The legal profession is a very noble one. And it is because of my relationship with lawyers and my little insight of the little law courses I did that has helped me to be able to situations, to analyze it. And that is what every lawyer do. At times, is that at times, even those we castigate, that the media, based on frenzy, the social media, and at times intentional bad vibes from enemies of a person, they can decide to frame you up. And by judgment, by sentiment, that person is already condemned. But good lawyers, when they take up such cases, a credible lawyer, of course, for every profession, we have the credible and the
substandard, let's just put it like that.
Exactly. So you would realize that a lawyer will take up that case based on the merits he sees in it. It's only, and these are the people you see stand out. We talk about Gani Fawehinmi. He's a lawyer that came out with third class according to story. But has Nigeria produced any better lawyer? That's the reality. So the fact remains, at times, what we see, the smoke we see, there's more to it. And as such, we should. That's why someone like me, I'm not so sentimental. Like my wife would say.
But when you're not sentimental, when you're always logical in your reasoning and judgment, people don't like you. I notice that a lot.
Obviously.
People don't like you.
No, obviously.
They don't. Because they always want you to take to a certain...
Obviously.
This is just what it is.
I had a similar case at one of my hangouts with my buddies, and there was this case they were coming up with. And this guy just came and just threw the question at me. Of course, it seems better than majority of us in terms of finances. And he just threw the question at me. This case, how do you see it? Yes or no? I said, you cannot
yes or don't yes or no me.
Ask me yes or no.
Don't put me in a box, because I'm going to tell you why this is this.
That is what everybody is always complaining about.
Don't put me in a yes or no situation.
That is life. We must be able to, and that is what law does. That is why someone who ordinarily would have been termed a killer, you realize was only defending himself.
A lot of times when I have conversations with people and I hear things like, I think you're being defensive. No, you obviously don't want to listen. Because you cannot tell me to tell you yes or no. If I say yes, I have a reason. If I say no, I have a reason. So you have to listen and pick out. Don't just tell me, you're trying to defend yourself. What do you have to do? Just throw myself. No, please. See, a lot of times when you want to talk to people
about lawyers, there are always cases to back them up, like previous things that have happened.
Exactly.
So It is no such thing that
And it's not possible that something has not happened before.
well, are biased or something.
So, still on this same headline we're talking about on The Guardian, says this one that says workers seal off Ekiti Teaching Hospital over unpaid 1.6 billion deduction and others. So, there is a part here that catches my eye. This one says, in another development, Secretary of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Oyo State Chapter, Olusegun Abato, has urged workers to brace up for fights to finish on the proposed plan to retrench workers who are 50-year-old in the civil service by the federal government. And this one is coming because Nigerian governments have advised the federal government to offer federal civil servants who are older than 50 years a one-off retirement package to exit the service. According to them, this is part of the coordinated effort to instill fiscal discipline and prevent the nation from imminent economic collapse. And I'm just wondering, Lubinko Adenike, some of our politicians, our leaders are older than 50. So are we saying that anybody above 50, you have no place in governance, you have no place in civil service?
I totally disagree with that.
Okay.
Yoruba, like I would always say, Yoruba way. You see, the Yoruba say, "Owo omode o to pepe."
What does that mean?
About walking, meaning the little boy's hand can't get to the
height.
to the height of where you should probably bring down something.
Okay.
And the old man, unfortunately, can't put his hand inside the this
small
keg,
space.
all this keg that
Okay.
Muslims use for their
The prayers.
prayers. You know, like, so at the end of the day, the experience of the old man helps the boy pick what is there.
Okay.
The agility of the young boy helps the old man access inside
The keg.
the keg.
Okay.
And invariably, this is how life is. Life is continuous. The only problem I have, especially with Nigerian polity, is we have the same cycle of leaders mostly. Like the younger ones are most times not allowed to shine. The only time the younger ones gets to shine is if they seize power and start afresh. You understand what I'm saying? Because, like I would always say, the problem of Nigeria had never been youth leadership. When we talk about the likes of Fashola, the likes of Tinubu, the likes of Osinbajo, the likes of Ben Ayade, what's his name? Kogi State Governor.
Yahaya Bello.
Virtually all of them started out as
Young
young
people.
people. So we have people we call veteran. The reason you're called a veteran is because when you start, you are the major lead role. But when you become veteran, you become
Like a pace setter.
the pace setter, and
People
then
follow you, people look out for what you do.
you're still in the role. But the role you are coming to take up now is one that helps the young one coming to fit in, to queue in properly. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that role where you are, if a new entrant is put there and you have to shoot the film, there won't be what we call queue in and queue out. So that is where you see that rubbing off on the younger ones. That is something we really don't have in Nigeria. I mean, in the past we used to have it. We talk about the likes of Obafemi Awolowo, for instance. We talk about the likes of what's his name? Ojukwu.
Okay.
My predecessor, before I became president while in the university, used to say, there's no success without a successor. So it is important that while you are growing, you are also looking for talents that will replace and continue in your legacy. That is what the other world, the developed world, do. But in Nigeria, we realize that
They just want to just soak
they
everything. Just for
probably
you.
build a team. And that team, after building it, it's meant to remain in the circle. Pass it down
Within
to
the
the
same
children. That is why you see
Everybody
somebody.
comes to the own agenda.
That is why you see somebody is a governor, the wife is a senator.
Please, let's not go there.
The children. You understand?
Yes.
But whether we like it or not, that alone is enough to cause agitation. Because the meaning of feeling cheated is not at times until it is thrown at your face. At times it's just as a result of the look that is thrown at you or you. So, God help us.
Let's take some of your messages we have here. Keep them coming in on 070 317 56537.
This is from Wale Mutiru Senje from Alapere. It says, Nigerian youths have shown that they are concerned with irrelevancy rather than what matters. What has dressing like a foreign goat got to do with governance in the country? It's obvious the youths are not ready to take up any progressive step towards reclaiming Nigeria, but to connive with old politicians to milk the nation dry. The future of our country kept looking bleak. I guess it meant keeps looking bleak.
Like I said, especially those of us that think we still have it. If you have it, you know you have it.
Oh, yes.
You understand? For those of us that think we still have it, let's not join in this, whether we like it or not. For every human being that lives on the earth, whether good or bad, they would always have their extremist supporters.
Well,
but we should not allow that to define us. And irrespective, even in our anger, when we want to respond to issues, we should respond in such a way that we are mending fences, not widening fences. There's a way I can reply you even in anger, but then when you sit back, you realize, oh, we need to intentionally imbibe that. It's something that needs to be passed down. It's something that needs to be taught.
Yes, I agree.
Unfortunately, not a lot of people get to be taught that. What we see people exhibiting is what they've been exposed to.
True.
There's another one from Engineer Wale in Ikorodu, and it says, the speech by all the presidential candidates at the NBA conference was well articulated. It is now left for Nigerians to put on their thinking caps by electing good candidates in 2023. 2023 will determine the future of this country. Therefore, we must choose right. That's from Engineer Wale in Ikorodu. It says, God bless Nigeria. And we have this from Tony from Birmingham, Alabama. It says, I just learned that most of the presidential aspirants attended the NBA conference in Lagos, and one of the aspirants was a no-show and without mentioning any name. I and many Nigerians will like the spokesperson of that particular candidate to tell Nigerians what is unexcused. Okay, I guess he meant to write why is unexcused absence means it could be because it was nothing to tell, has nothing to tell Nigerians.
Well, I don't want to say it that way. I mean,
let me wrap it up. It says, okay. If that's the case, why should he earn our vote come 2023?
You see, like I said, the NBA, Yorubas will say Aruku, was a form of Aruku for Nigerians. I'm quite disappointed that two leading presidential contestants in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kwakwanso were not there. And you know, it creates a kind of lacuna in me. It makes me scared. If eventually these guys become the president, are we going to be having representative president again?
Maybe.
Because, especially for the person who's just some drive away, whose house is just some drive away from the venue. And I want to believe that they've been invited. The invite had been sent out long enough.
Okay.
I see no reason why a major contender, especially one that had always been vocal on the political space of the country, and who now has the opportunity. We are talking about the legal system here, inviting you. I mean, the funny thing is, you are only invited to talk, not to be criticized, not to be analyzed. So it's not like a debate.
You just need to.
It's just for you to show.
Sure.
It speaks a lot of things to me. I don't want to say it speaks disrespect, and I don't want to say it creates another fear in me. Everybody keeps asking, "Where's our president now? Where's our president?" Is it that someone is being prepped up again or some. You understand? It gives me a lot of, and like someone said, a write-up I read recently. We must keep asking what ifs for every situation. Nigerians, we don't have ask what ifs. You know, the writer was talking about MKO Abiola, that when he was released from prison, I mean, when Abacha died, he ran and told, it's time we strategize.
Okay.
What if the mysterious way Abacha died? What if they don't give government, or they want to, and everybody said, no, the new person is, and what eventually happened? We need to ask a lot of what ifs. We need to, even for our candidates that we probably individually support, we should start asking the what ifs.
Okay. All right.
We should know the point where we'll draw a line. Someone like me, I say it any day, anytime. I was very vociferous in the support of Buhari. But even while doing that, in one of my open letters to him, I think back in 2014 or thereabout, or 2015, I said, the cane where we take beat senior wife, we don't keep them on top the shelf. For you, the junior wife, if you mess up. And when I felt that the government was no longer leading us right, I was in his political party. I felt the honorable thing to do. After criticizing him in-house, after talking, and then I felt I had to withdraw. We need to keep asking what ifs.
All right. We have some more messages here.
Okay, it says Nigerians must sharpen their memories and reflect on the past and present antecedents and the record of all aspirants, and vote wisely before in 2023 in order to avoid another calamity, and by so doing, save the nation for our children's sake. And we have this text, that's from Tony from Alabama, and we have this text as well. It says, though I was not opportuned to have listened to the NBA debates, to be frank and sincere, I must applaud the lady who said we don't have leaders in Nigeria. Here in our country, we only have rulers, but we lack leaders. What do I mean by leaders? What do I mean? A leader is supposed to be selfless, but not these roughs, killers and selfish ones we are seeing today in our country. But I know very soon that God must surely give us leaders who will redeem us from the shackles of these wicked leaders. This is from Anderson.
God's done do for man. What man should do for
Let's start that conversation now.
We need to get it right.
Okay.
For every leader we've had, God has given us what we want. When it comes to especially elective leaders, the decision is all yours. That is the only reason God has given you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and the spirit of discernment to be able to understudy, overstudy, and generally study whoever you want your candidates to be. So, you see, I was thinking yesterday, one of our political problems is also lack of ideology. What does APC represent? What does PDP represent? When you go to normal climes, we know what the Tories stand for. We know what the Democrats stand for. We know. And because there is no ideology, you just see people jumping boats. And between you and I, that is probably the reason I've not joined any other political party. I want to be on the fence, make my voice heard in my little space.
All right. We have some more messages here. This one is from Additional Wasiu Nikolu, and it says, top of the morning to you in the studio. Top of the morning to you. On NBA conference, it is a good idea that APC has said they will replicate what Bola Tinubu did in Lagos State, and same thing is ongoing in Borno State. I must tell Nigerians that this is the best ticket for Nigeria. We all need to support this ticket if we need to take as a case study of what each aspirant has been through before they became governor, just like in the case of Peter Obi. And he also says on insecurity in Nigeria, and as Zamfara state government has given amnesty to a notorious bandit who has killed so many people according to reports, and the same Zamfara state government has also dethroned an emir because the Emirates gave chieftaincy title to a bandit, to the best of my knowledge, I don't see the difference between the Zamfara state government and the Emirates Council. Both are encouraging criminality in their state. God bless Nigeria. This message here is from Evangelist Shegun Ideji, and it says, "Good morning, crew. Good morning to you. Part of the opening prayer of Senator Joe White of Kansas in USA was that, and I quote, we have lost our spiritual equilibrium and reversed our values. We have abused power and call it politics. The Bible says, woe to those who call evil good. With these politicians..." Okay, so he has another part of the message here that will not be taken. Please, let's receive with our comments. I totally understand. Rosanjay Mutu is saying, "Good morning, dear presenters. Good morning to you. I stand with Professor Wole Soyinka on the prescription of Miyetti Allah. By doing this, the association will purge itself of bad eggs who are hell-bent on destroying farmlands and killing farmers at the expense of their cows. We cannot keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results." So keep your text and WhatsApp messages coming in. Let's take them before we wrap up this morning on the conversation. Time is fast spent. It is 23 minutes past 8, and this is the newspaper review on Women Radio 91.7. We have been reviewing the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers, and you also can share your thoughts with us, what you think. Send us your comments on 070-317-56537. My name is Esther Laobi. I have with me Adenike Quadri, and our analyst for the morning has been Obideyi Olariwaju. I want us to quickly touch on this one before we wrap up this morning. Now, human rights lawyer Mr. Femi Falana is calling on the leadership of the Nigerian Bar Association to end incessant arrest and detention of suspects and other people in the country. So now he's urging the NBA to ensure that some lawyers, some members of the Human Rights Committee of the NBA accompany the chief magistrates during the monthly visit to all police stations in the country. And he also is urging Nigerian lawyers should ensure that they apply the provisions of the Anti-Torture Act 2017 to end torture of suspects and other people in Nigeria. I like that this one is coming at this time because you get to some police stations or you hear stories from different people say things like they were arrested unlawfully, unlawful detention. You hear things about journalists being picked up. So many things at this time. And now this one is coming in. NBA really has to start doing something about it. The Human Rights Committee of NBA really needs to look at this and nip it in the bud before it becomes a full-blown issue. Because these days, I see videos, I see people on the street, the way they respond to police officers, you can tell that the people have built some form of resentment towards the officers when they see them because of the stories they've had or the things they probably have been through in the hands of some police officers. So what do you think?
I'm sorry to say this, and as a student of advertising, and I mean public relations, we have what we call wish image, we have what we call mirror image, and we have what we call real image. When it comes to the mirror image that the Nigerian police presents based on interaction, I tell you for free, we have very beautiful Nigerian policemen. But unfortunately, the ones we relate with that are closer to the people, majority of them, can we say that of them? And this also cuts across rank and file because I've had experience across rank and file. I can tell you we have good and we have extremely bad, which applies to every facet of human being. But for a brand, the brand I'm talking about now is Nigerian Police. There's need for more effort. This current administration of the police seems to be doing better. I think in about 2 months or 3 months now, we've seen 2 viral videos of 2 or 3 viral videos of some officers who been dismissed, who are being dismissed for obviously. And the fact remains, to curb crime, you don't have to catch all the criminals. You just have to deal with one to send the message to them. You just have to catch probably not even up to 2% of them, and the message is sent. Like I used to say, when Buhari got into the presidency, the polity for the first 6 months had a wind of change.
Oh, yes, I
whether
remember.
we liked it or not, whether we like it or not. Because everybody was careful. And then he was tested with snake swallowed money, and they saw that the snake escaped. Nothing happened to the snake. Then ants came. Then you see, that is how it is. But had it been that snake was found, fumigated, killed, roasted, and eaten
And shared.
by those who can eat snake in Nigeria, the baboon wouldn't have had the guts to come. There's no crime that can't be investigated. No crime. Even when there were no forensic tools, crimes get in our.
Responding to this particular
You say,
headline that I just took, so Evangelist Shagun Oyediji is saying, Esther, tell me what we can call people who are supposed to be protecting the Constitution or protecting us, now in turn violating us.
That's just the reality. The mirror image. I said it somewhere. An average Nigerian, if you are driving or you are walking, and you come across, you just sight a policeman. Not even just a policeman.
You already feel a certain way already.
Majority of the uniformed men in Nigeria, the moment you sight them in front of you, you would hardly not swear under your breath, irrespective of who you are. Irrespective. It's not. It becomes so. And for that, I don't say that is right, and I'm not going to say it's wrong. But that is the real image that the Nigerian police is having now in the face of the people. And for them to change that, they need to make deliberate effort to change that. It won't be changed by news releases. No, it will be changed by actions. It will be changed by results. I saw a video, was it last week, where a car broke down, I think Kaduna.
Oh yes, and the police officers were trying to help out. I remember
That's
the
what
video.
we're talking about. I've shared my experience here where I was helped by uniformed people. So the fact remains we have the very good ones.
We have the good ones, and
But unfortunately,
it's just as the same way we have it in our society.
Exactly. Now, the thing wrong with the police is the same thing wrong with our system.
I mean, they're part of the society at the end of the day. I mean, we don't import
the
our
man
police
that
officers.
went ahead without
We don't
knowing he
import
was
our
being-
leaders.
The man that went ahead without knowing he was being recorded and said, "What he's doing, this is my own market."
I think they sent me with this. Yes, I remember that video.
Funny enough, he's discharged. But do you know that could also be an injustice? For him to have said he has people,
They should be able to find
he
it so that they can fish them out. Let him
it
use
should
those
not
people.
just be
the only one to-
scapegoat. That is injustice.
Well, so
Well,
that's the
because
thing.
we need to build a system where it's not only a case of
Who is caught?
who is caught. We need to encourage a system of accomplices.
Yes. Call out the others. Well, there's so much to say, and so much has been said, and we'll still keep talking here on Women Radio 91.7. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation this morning. Thank you so much.
Always my pleasure.
Thank you, Adenike, for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Yes, and this is all we can take on the newspaper review this morning. Do well to join us again tomorrow at 7:30 as we get to review the dailies across different Nigerian newspapers. My name is Esther Alaribi. Up next is Panorama at 9:05. At 9 is the news at 9. At 9:05 is Panorama, where we have the ladies from different geopolitical zones come together to discuss, dissect, and disagree. Good morning and have a wonderful day.
Have you been a victim of corruption? Do you want to report how corruption affects you and your community? Send an SMS or WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537.